Welcome to the Doghouse Podcast. We are back. Got a special guest from the College Huddle, Nathan from Hill Brothers. How we doing today, brother?
Doing pretty good, man. It's different being over here in SEC country, man. This is not something that we're used to over here, man. I appreciate the invite, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about it. I believe the only other one is we had Brian from Clemson Football Live or Clemson. Also, Bobby Durkins, if you follow him on his other channel from Clemson, he was fun to have last year. So yeah, got some good to have some ACC brothers over.
Yeah, man, it's different, dude. We've been on ever since Bill got hired. I've been on Ohio State, now with you, and it won't be too much longer. I'm going to be on. Oh, bless, I forget who their name is, but another out of conference pod. So this has been it's been fun, man. Bill Belichick comes to town, and all of a sudden you turn national. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Get big time.
Yeah.
Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the Doghouse Podcast. We're growing here. And also check out the link below for the College Huddle. It's always good to collaborate with those guys. Check out their YouTube channel. Eric Boggs has got it growing over there. So check out the link below for the College Huddle. Always good to give them a shout out. So, Nathan, big question is, because you just mentioned him, thoughts on the Bill Belichick hire back when it happened. Did you think it was just a whole bunch of rumors and everything going on? I was shocked myself. I kept looking. I was like, there's no way he's going to go to college football, much less go to UNC. So
Yeah.
thoughts on the initial response in the offseason?
Work hated me because I was legitimately, stopped consistently looking at my phone on the phone with a few different people trying to see if this thing was a legit deal or if it was all just gimmicked. And originally it was hey, they're just doing this to drum up the allure to North Carolina football. That, oh man, Bill Belichick would actually take an interview with them. It was kind of smoke and mirrors at first. This was the week of Thanksgiving. They did a Zoom meeting with him, I think that Monday before Thanksgiving, and it just supposed to be just this random Zoom, just whatever. And on Thanksgiving Day, they were on a plane to New York to do a formal interview. And then it took a few weeks for everybody started talking about this big Bible deal thing that happened, the football Bible. That was never a legit thing. But they talked about that was going on. You had to get money right, which was true, NIL right. See the difference between North Carolina and Georgia. Georgia is a university that says, hey, football, here's all our money. Have at it. North Carolina looks at it as a necessary evil, and they'd never really cared to do that up until this past season. And then they said, bump it, this offseason, going into what we're in now, we're going to go all in and finally, spend the appropriate amount of money into football and give it the respect it's earned. And then when Bill Belichick starts interviewing, okay, now we really have to make sure that we're going to really decide to get into this thing for real. So when it happened, I was very mixed feelings about it. We're out of Mac Brown. Mac Brown, 73-year-old man, and he's had his time. It was time for him definitely to go. Everybody loved the dude. The Mac Brown, the man, he's a great fella. He's a great guy. But he was not the right guy to be running this program anymore. And we were losing recruits. They were flipping, leading up to the last game. And it was just definitely time for him to go. And he went out kicking and screaming. I'll put it to you that way, behind the scenes. But when Bill came in, I didn't know how to react. We were wanting a younger coach, obviously. We were kind of looking at Summerall out of Tulane. That was he was the lead horse in that race. It was Summerall, and then Campbell out of Iowa State. Those were the two main guys. Then you had the rumor of Arthur Smith out of the Pittsburgh Steelers, former North Carolina player. Could he come home? I was not a big fan of that idea.
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody out of the NFL, quite frankly. But we get the guy out of the NFL to come down. So a youth movement in Carolina by 6 months. There we go.
Yeah.
So from 73 to 72, which he'll be 73 right here. I think he actually just turned 73, as a matter of fact. But I didn't know how this was going to go. I had many of the same questions. Is he going to recruit? Is he going to get out there? They're talking about they led in with this. We're going to be the 33rd NFL team. That was what they led in with. And I said, okay, what does that mean? What are we looking at here? And ever since Bill and Michael Lombardi walked into North Carolina's facilities, they have shocked me. And they have done leaps and bounds better than I would have ever have thought, quite frankly. So I'm really excited about it. And I was having this conversation yesterday. One of our players, Thaddeus Dixon, he was a standout corner at Washington. He's been over there for a few years. I was on that team that went to the national championship game against Michigan a couple of years ago with Michael Penix. But Steve Belichick was his DC last year, and Washington's offense was piss poor, but their defense was rock solid. And it's a good sign for us because North Carolina has never been a great defense outside of the late '90s years. Since then, anybody can run through us. Hence, JMU scoring 70.
Right.
Also, East Carolina a number of years ago as well, scoring 70 on us. So, when he decided to commit to North Carolina, he came over with Steve Belichick. Also, Steve Belichick brought one of the best defensive back coaches in the country, Armand, with him to Carolina. So they all came as like a package deal. He recently, just as a matter of fact, on Sunday, we do a live shows on Sundays. And he said that Thaddeus Dixon came out on Twitter. He saw a comment from one of our more famous North Carolina Twitter accounts that are kind of out there. It's called Great Day Tar Heel. Awesome dude. I love that guy. He's not affiliated with the college or anything. But he said that, maybe considering, because our schedule's pretty weak. It's relatively weak, to say the least. He said maybe we should be a 9-3 team. But 10-2 potentially. Just depends on how, the cookie crumbles. And Thaddeus Dixon, who's not a guy who just sticks his nose in anybody's business, randomly replied and said, nope, 12-0. He says, y'all need to get on the same page as us. And I'm like, okay, I like that attitude.
Yeah.
A guy that believes, and he knows what it takes to get there, to get to the national championship game. He's been on that road before. He was star corner, going up against, those nice Michigan players. That was a great Michigan team that year. So he knows what it takes to get there. He didn't have to say anything. And he stuck his nose out, knowing what that's going to do. That's going to drive everybody. Everybody's going to see that. So it said something to me, considering the guy that Thaddeus is. So yeah, I like the confidence that he has brought into this team. It is a confidence that North Carolina football has not had maybe in 25, 30 years. A team that truly believes, like, hey, now we've had a lot of turnover. As North Carolina fans, we don't know what kind of a team we've got. We don't. We know we have a collection of talent, but a vast majority of people left. It was a massive, roster turnover. So we don't know what we have, but all of those guys are like, y'all just wait and see. I hope they prove themselves right, obviously. Yeah. But he's exuded a lot of confidence, and I am really enjoying. We're getting recruits across the country.
Yeah,
it's not something North Carolina does, Mm-hmm. Teams like a Georgia and Ohio State and a Clemson, they get commits from across the country. North Carolina football doesn't, and now we're seeing that, which is cool.
Yeah, I'd say definitely interesting hire, but when you kind of look like, even from a Georgia fan, it's like, well, I did question, is he going to have people do recruiting for him? But he can also go, if he does go in some of these high-profile recruiting rooms, like, just got to show the 6 rings, man. Just we'll evaluate you, have connections, get you to the league. We'll pay you with NIL money.
And there's a lot more of that now than there ever has been.
Yeah, so it could be good on that end. So, yeah, definitely interesting. And I do want to ask, do you think all the off-the-field issues that happened during the summer, early spring, with the girlfriend, or I'm not even sure what they are now, fiance, that's another one.
Yeah.
How, do you think that is any kind of distractions heading into the season?
it's going to be a talking point that the mainstream media will get a hold of. We have thankfully been put into a position where we can have some conversations with some people that are in and around the building a lot, and that's not a problem. It's something that the national media is definitely locked onto, which I can understand why. It's a fun conversation. It really is.
Yeah.
And it causes for a chuckle, but no, as an actual legitimate distraction, nah. Thankfully, and hopefully it stays that way.
That's good to hear. Before we get some of these other interesting questions for Nathan, I want to give a shout out to our great sponsor. They're going to be, again, sponsored for this year, BeaverTequilaSeltzer.com. It's the pool season, also great for a round of golf. 0 carbs, 0 sugar. My personal favorite is the watermelon. They got huckleberry, grapefruit, and burberry there. Also, if you can get the hot coconut, is great as well. 20% off Doghouse 20. Again, that's Doghouse 20 for 20% off. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Great sponsor on the show. Also, check out their growing YouTube and Instagram as well.
Hot coconut. That's crazy.
All right, Nathan, got a question for you here. Do you think UNC is a legit contender in the ACC this year?
That's an interesting question. I don't think anybody knows what Miami's going to be yet. I know they got Carson Beck, and they did a fairly decent job in the portal this year.
I'm glad they got Carson Beck, being a Georgia fan. So, yeah, they can have him.
Yeah. And he followed his girlfriend over there, then cheated on her. So, I mean, congratulations, that guy.
I think those I'll just say those Latino girls might have gotten his eye a little bit.
Them Cubans. Oh man. Yeah. So here's the thing about Miami. Nobody in the ACC takes them seriously or takes Mario Cristobal seriously.
Yeah.
Everybody looks at him as like a whatever. Florida State is interesting to me. Florida State better do good because Thomas Castellanos, a guy who got benched at Boston College, a 7-win Boston College team, as a matter of fact, is talking a lot of smack. I don't know if you saw this, but he is talking. He's coming for everybody. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to handle Alabama, no problem." That's like who they open up with. And he's just like, "Oh man, I was running the ACC before I was benched." I'm like, one of these things is not like the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know what Florida State's going to do. I'll be very interested to see what they do. Pitt, I believe they have Holstein back again this year, the quarterback. He was really good. I thought I was actually fairly pleased with him. And Pittsburgh's also another team that kind of is like, yeah, you don't really take seriously. But last year they were doing really well, and then they just kind of fell apart. So I'll be curious to see what they do over there. Clemson, we have them on our schedule. Outside of that, we don't have any of the top teams in the conference on our schedule. Hence why I say it's a fairly easy schedule, quite frankly. So if Carolina can just take care of the games that they're supposed to, and that's been a big problem for Carolina over the years, I honestly think that they could be top 3 in the ACC easily. I don't know what Miami will do. Miami and Louisville and teams like that, they're going to battle against each other. For Carolina, it really should come down to that Clemson game. And Syracuse is going to be an interesting team. Fran Brown over there has done a really good job in his first year, and he's brought in some recruits. So we'll have to keep an eye on him for sure. And we do have Syracuse on the schedule this year. We are at the Dome up there. So I'll be curious to see. But if Carolina, to me, should go handle business, based off what they're telling us, I'm going to hold them to their standard. They should go handle that business. The Clemson game to me is a toss-up. I don't know who's going to win that game. I would favor Clemson heavily in that game. It is in Kenan Stadium, which helps us. Our crowd's going to be crazy. It's going to be our first ACC game. So once you get past that game, then you have the rest of your ACC schedule. So, the sky's the limit for them. But, yeah, I would rank them in there as a dark horse ACC contender.
Okay, I like that. And then pulling up the schedule here, I think you're about to ask you maybe already answered it, but I wanted to say, what is the one game on the schedule that could define the 2025 season?
Clemson easily.
Okay.
Clemson, and I'll put another team in there. And I know if their fans see this, they're just going to get giddy and crazy and love it to death. Other North Carolina fans saying this, but NC State.
Okay.
And the reason I say NC State is because I don't know how familiar you are with our rivalry with them, but NC State has been able to pull off some miracles against us, and they have 4 straight on us right now.
Wow, really? I didn't know that one.
Oh yeah, and they are we can't stand them. They are annoying. They are the annoying little brother. I mean, just they are just Dave. NC State lives to beat North Carolina.
Are they as annoying as Duke in football, or which one do you hate more? Which one's the biggest? What's the biggest rivalry coming from Tar Heel fans?
In football,
Yep, football
rivalry, I would still say Duke. But NC State, just because you love to beat them and shut them up because they grasp onto anything to talk about,
Gotcha.
anything. I'll put it to you this way. I saw a Virginia post. It popped up on our Instagram feed the other day. A Virginia post. It was a throwback Thursday to when Virginia beat North Carolina when they were 6-0. Drake May was quarterback. I was at that game. It was a sad day. But there was a throwback game. NC State fans were in the comments of a Virginia post about North Carolina and Virginia talking about, haha, NC State's got 4 straight over North Carolina. Like, you guys have nothing better to do, ever. Yeah. It's a fun time.
Yeah, we get that from a lot of non-SEC. You know, we've kind of dominated all the rivals. Everybody goes Alabama 1-6. Georgia fan, what you got? Roll Tide. That's all they got. Like, all right, we know.
Here's the team. That's a legit. Alabama's a legit team. NC State's not a legit team. They're not at all.
Right.
So
yeah, looking at your schedule though, any worries maybe about? I know you got them at home, but first game against TCU, decent team. I mean,
TCU
it's not like
really
it's I hate to say Charlotte 49ers talk down or another smaller team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got to respect
the non-con, the Richmond and Charlotte games. Now, Charlotte will be interesting because we're at Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. We faced them last year, and I was in Keena Stadium for one that game. But their fans are rabid, dude.
Wow.
And our former quarterback transferred over there, and I think he's going to be the starter.
How many's got stadium hold there? I actually live in Charlotte. Never been to there.
UNC. Oh, really? Dude, I'm just right down the street from you, bro.
Yeah,
us and the Florida State guy.
Maybe we should link up. Georgia plays at we'll say a smaller team that game, so it might be less stressful for me.
Yeah.
Let's try to check it out,
dude.
Austin
absolutely,
P, the big town of Austin P. Let's see, they got second.
Hey, as a matter of fact, one of our offensive linemen transferred over there to Austin P. I'm trying to think. I think it holds like 15. They're doing an expansion on it though.
I mean, you guys might take it over. I mean, is it going to be a hard ticket? I just like, wow, UNC half any of your fans show up might get interested in there.
You know, my thing is this. I think that game is already relatively sold out.
Night game too.
Night game, yeah. We're going to have tons of those, it would seem, this year. I fully expect the Clemson game to be a night game. But their fans are wild. They're crazy. I love them to death, actually. I will root for the 49ers in a heartbeat. Not against North Carolina. So that game should be interesting. But the UCF game in the non-con, that's the one that frightens me.
Yeah. And I believe no Gus Malzahn because he's with Florida State now, so it'll be interesting.
And they got their guy Scott Frost back. That was their hero.
Retread.
Yes, he's a retread, and we just got done with the retread, so maybe it won't go as well.
Yeah.
We'll see, but UCF has been good, so we will see. And they love to upset people.
So we're gonna put the spotlight on you, Nathan. So how you would like it to end, not the end of the season, and maybe what will be a ceiling and then hitting the floor, just the bottom fell out for a score for a record prediction. That's where I'm going.
If the floor fell out,
like for us was 8-4. We had the Ohio State. Everybody was like, "Ooh, 8-4 with all that. We got all the money in Kirby Smart." Ooh, and then he said, "Well, anyway, go ahead."
let me see that schedule one more time.
Yeah,
I
sure.
just want to see games and where they line up.
Yeah, let's see here.
I've almost got the schedule memorized by now, but
I'm still doing it as well.
Yeah,
I think you go 4-0, and then might get a little tough after that.
If the bottom fell out,
That helps. There we go. Oh.
I say 7-5. 7-5. The 5 coming from actually, if the bottom fell out, 6-6, and the losses coming from Duke State, Syracuse, Clemson, UCF, TCU.
How about if let's just say I don't want him to go down, but quarterback goes down, and I was looking. I think he's a transfer from. That was going to be my next question.
South Alabama.
Yeah, Gio Lopez, is he the man?
I fully believe that he is. His bag, as the kids say, is it's deep. It is really deep. Right. He is coming from South Alabama. That is the thing. So, but here's the really cool part about our quarterback room. We have Gio Lopez. We brought him in. Really excited about him. Last year, I don't know if you heard or saw much about North Carolina last year, but they brought in Max Johnson.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Didn't he? Was it Achilles or knee or what was it?
Had his leg snapped at Minnesota.
Yeah, I think I saw that. It's tough, man.
Well, here's the cool news. He's back. He's back, and he and Gio was just at the Manning Passing Academy. And from what all the videos that we're talking about and everybody that was there said that Max was slinging it. Gio was too.
Is he moving around pretty good with a leg injury?
Yeah, like there was some really gnarly reports coming out very, right after everything happened. Like, hey, he may not be able to walk right again. Wow. But you see him, and he posts videos all the time. It's like, hey, this dude's doing really good. And Bill Belichick's been very cryptic about him.
Right.
And I think Belichick knows coming into this season, he's got to win now. He has to make an impact this year. He needs to go win 9-10 games this year. He knows that. Because of the fan base. Fan base is like we were some sad little puppies when Belichick rolled in.
All right.
So that you want to keep that momentum on your side, and you want to keep moving forward. So he knows he needs to go win, but I think he's going to roll out with Gio. And if Gio goes down, hopefully, if it was to happen, God forbid, you have an experienced quarterback to back him up.
Right.
And then if all else fails, you've got this like shining beacon star, this high-end quarterback that we brought in, Bryce Baker, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation coming in out of this recruiting class, that people are saying he could start right now. So you have that, as a third string. Now, we went down to our third string last year, and actually our third string ended up being our best quarterback. And Criswell, he did the best that he possibly could. So I feel like Carolina, quarterback-wise, is okay. That we're good. I'll be curious to see what the fluidity of the offense is and the offensive line is. But if push comes to shove, I think we would be able to tread water just fine.
That's cool. Glad to hear. Hey, cool. Just looking at the I got the depth chart. Looks like you got Austin Blasky, who was a former Georgia lineman.
Sure is. Cool. Love that dude, by the way. Loved him. He came in last year, and he was awesome.
We're excited about him. I think it's just one of those, hey, you got to go to a place you want to play, and I think it was just depth. So
yeah.
So I know we went 6. I know we went 6-6. The floor fell out. Hopefully that not. So realistically, what would be happy maybe from you, Nathan, as a Tar Heel fan, what you would like to see for your record prediction?
So like a realistic number or like my dream number?
We'll go realistic.
Okay. Yeah. Realistic. I don't see how this team, honestly, in my opinion, I'm honestly right there at the 8 to 10 wins.
Okay. Got some tweener games in there, but you take like 9-3 would be great.
Yeah,
bowl
if I
game.
had to pick it, 9-3 would be like that would probably be where I'm at. I'm trying to get ready for the season predictor, and
Yeah.
I'm looking it over back and forth, and I think I'm leaning on that 9-3 pretty hard
Right. Okay.
to where I
That's
think
good.
they should be considering the schedule. There's a lot of games in there that teams are trying to figure out who the heck they are.
Are
Like
you?
Wake Forest, they don't know who they are right now. Virginia, they're starting to figure some stuff out.
Right.
But they're not there just yet. Cal had lost a lot of talent
Mhm.
over the last little bit here. Stanford, same thing. They were not great at all last year. And then obviously you got Richmond, you've got uh, Charlotte in there. I do think you should beat TCU
Mhm.
personally.
Yeah.
UCF worries me, but I do think you should get them. But
Yeah.
yeah, that Clemson game, I'm penciling in a loss there because
Okay.
Clemson just looks really good this year.
Yeah. They're loaded. They got a lot coming back, and maybe one of the best quarterbacks in the nation coming back. So yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
gotta love.
Oh yeah. So I got a text from a buddy last night, big UNC fan. I'll give him a shout out here, Patrick. He
All right.
listens to the pod, and this will be for you. So the defensive line looks like a weakness this year. How will the coaching staff and Bill Belichick hide this so they will not get dominated? And he said in the text, get run down their throat by each team. How are they going to maybe kind of hide that weakness? That was his
Well, I'll
question.
tell you one thing. I like a lot of the pieces that they've brought together. Now we need to see them together, and that's going to be a question. You do have some pretty dang good linebackers
Right.
that have come over. Kamari House, Curtis Simpson, uh, that I have no idea how to say his last name. It's a bunch of letters put together, and I can't say it. But you got some really good linebackers that's going to help. And edge rushers, I thought they did a really good job of bringing in a couple of edge guys as well. That's going to be able that can play, in multiple different formations. And kind of like last year, we had 3 edge rushers that weren't always on the edge. They could come on inside. They could put their hands on the ground. They could be ready to rock in the trenches if they need to. Instead of just coming off the edge, they could come up the gut if they had to. And I think that they were able to bring in some people that are like that, some high motor guys. So I'll be very curious to see what the defensive line does. But what we brought back, I like the guys that we brought back, the way they played, and their performance last year was pretty solid. Some young guys for sure, and then some of the players that they brought in. I'm very curious. They are very unproven, so it may end up being an issue. But I'm excited to see. I don't know exactly, but I'm very excited to see.
Okay. Really good. And then maybe for Tar Heel fans, or if not a lot of people know, what's maybe a name or names that maybe at the end of the year is going to stand out no one really knows about, maybe like a dark horse or under the radar player you're excited to hear about or you've been hearing good things about?
Melcart. He is a guy that came from Delaware,
Hmm.
the Blue Hens. You want to talk about a high motor guy? He's an edge rusher as well. Him and Price Yates out of UConn. Price Yates lit us up in the bowl game. We played UConn in Boston in the Fenway Bowl.
Yeah.
They destroyed us.
Hmm.
And then Price comes to North Carolina. He won the MVP, and 2 weeks later, he was a Tar Heel. It was great.
There you go.
Like,
That's the way to do it, man.
Belichick was on the phone, like, get him down here. Come on.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. But yeah, Melcart. I think Melcart's going to be a guy that people are going to be heavily talking about after this season is over with. And then names that people have already heard of and have saw little glimpses of, but I think are really getting ready to take the world by storm. Receivers Jordan Shipp and Chris Culliver. Those 2 guys, they have been sitting, waiting, and everybody knew that they were really good players coming out of high school. And they were able to see the field some. Malcolm Ziegler as well. Now he's a DB, but Malcolm Ziegler, I don't know how I forgot about Malcolm. Malcolm's going to be a guy that people are going to be, or they're going to remember that name. Three
Cool,
on the
man.
field is going to be going nuts.
Okay, nice. Definitely be on here for those guys. And then real quick, one last question, not non-football question. Is Hubert Davis on the hot seat? Sorry, I had
I
to.
love it because you want to know
I'm in
why?
Charlotte, so I'm all around Duke, UNC, so I hear about it because Georgia's terrible. So anyway, had to ask.
So here's the deal. I did a video on this week, and I was called everything but nice because I did a video on this past week.
There you go.
I actually had to set some people straight on our live show on Sunday. It was pretty ridiculous. So I'll just kind of reiterate what I said in that video. Hubert comes into this season in a very sticky situation. And here's the reason why. Ever since he's come in, there have been some moments of glory. The national championship game year, his first year, is very glossed over because they got to the national championship game. Fortunately, that regular season was horrible. It was not good. They barely made it into the tournament. It was that win over Duke in Cameron, that last game, that really helped propel them to be able to get into the tournament, and then they just caught fire. They had a player over there, Dawson Garcia, who was horrible, and he did not mesh with the team. He had a bad attitude, and he left the team in the middle of the season, and it actually ended up being a great thing. But ever since then, Carolina has done this. Carolina has only had one season in 4, or Hubert's going into 5, that the North Carolina Tar Heels have not had to sit on the edge of their seat on Selection Sunday. North Carolina is a blue blood, and they should never be a bubble team. Ever. They just shouldn't be. Same thing with like a Duke and a Kentucky and a UConn, or flip it on the football side of things, an Alabama, a Georgia, an Ohio State. Those should never be teams that are consistently barely even in the conversation to getting into postseason, to go after championships. Those teams are identified by that, right? And to see, I mean, look at Kellen DeBoer at Alabama. He won 9 games last year, and people are ready to slit his throat.
9-4,
right?
Yep.
Right. And here's the thing. He's backing up a Hall of Fame coach.
Mm-hmm.
So is Hubert. Now, Hubert worked with Roy for 9 years as an assistant, helped him win those championships, right? But Carolina has evidently reportedly spent 14 to 15 million on a roster reconstruction. It's a lot of money for North Carolina.
You got a big this year. That's what I kept hearing in the text from my buddies from UNC. You need a big,
now
man.
we got a 7-foot a shooter. Okay. He's a big man, but I'll take that because Carolina hasn't had that in a very, very long time.
Right.
A 7-footer at least. And so yeah, if Hubert Davis and this team, barring injuries, of course, has a bad year, and it's a bubble-ish team year, and they don't get to the tournament or don't have success in the tournament, get bopped out in the first round again, I don't see Hubert surviving. I don't see it.
What's the buyout of the contract looking like?
No, that's a good question. They did re-up him back in December. Yes, December. Not too far into the season. Right. He had been, actually, as a matter of fact, it was before it was officially announced in December. Right. But he actually signed it back in the summer. And Carolina is coming off a good year last year. Not the one that just happened, but the year previous.
Right.
Then last year happened.
Right.
And Carolina was the last team in.
Mm-hmm.
Last team in. It's not good.
Right. So are we saying like Sweet 16 or less, or what do you think to keep him in good
Needs
grace?
to be at least second in the ACC, behind Duke only. Right. If it's going to be a team, it's going to be Duke. The rest of the ACC doesn't look that great this year. We'll see what now. Louisville, we'll have to respect Louisville. Louisville looks pretty decent. They done really good. Right. NC State, we don't know what they're going to be. Clemson lost a lot. Wake's trying to figure out what the heck they are. Virginia, brand new head coach. They're still trying to figure out everything. And the rest of the ACC, they're just scrapping, trying to figure something out.
Right.
Duke and Carolina, they need to get going this year, or North Carolina needs to get going. They need to be in that race with Duke. They need to be, they need to get into the tournament, not hoping and praying they get in, but like, hey, we know that Carolina's going to be in. It's a done deal. They need to go win the games they're supposed to go win this year. You've got some pretty good out of conference games. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with. But Carolina needs to have a North Carolina type year. There you go.
Gotcha. You heard it here. I got you. Excited for that.
Yeah.
Nathan, appreciate you coming on again. How we follow you on social media? Got your YouTube here, man. 1.4.
Hey, there's my mug.
Yeah.
Nah, man, we're over here on YouTube, as you're seeing right here. The Hill Bros, a Sunday Tar Heel. That's a live show that we do from 2 to 3 every single Sunday, where you guys can come in, hang out, chit chat with us, have a good time, and all that good jazz. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Did I already say Twitter? I don't know if I said Twitter. TikTok now. We are also on TikTok. You guys can go hang out with us over there as well.
That's right here.
That's
right here on Twitter.
That is us, man. We are over there, and we are just we're having ourselves a good time, getting ready for this football season. We've got a lot to talk about. We actually are getting ready to go to ACC Media Day right here in the next couple of weeks, so I'll get to ask good old Billy Belichick a question or two.
Nice, man.
So I'm looking forward to that. So that's going to be fun. And we're also going to be doing collaborations with one of the North Carolina insiders that's become a really close friend of ours over the last year. And really looking forward to getting up with him pretty soon. So a lot of fun stuff to be had, and a lot of conversations to be had as well over the course of the season.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely check out Nathan and the Hill Brothers. They're growing. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share their podcast, and check them out. Also part of the College Huddle. And it's a pleasure having you on.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. And like if you make sure to like, subscribe, and share the Doghouse podcast. And we got some more content, and it's getting close to 50 days or less for college football kickoffs coming up. Can't wait.
That's it, dude. I'm so excited. I am really excited, bro.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on. I'll give you a go Heels.
Go Heels, baby.
All right, man.